San Francisco, 2014. Godzilla is in his climactic battle against the MUTOs, the massive, unidentified terrestrial organisms. Ford Brody's on the scene, along with a military unit there to retrieve a nuclear bomb. While in the universe you know and love, Ford Brody stays behind and blows up the nest of alien insects. However, in this timeline, things play out differently. The Jump Master, the man in charge of the Halo jump, stays in the back to make sure everybody gets out, Ford being forced to leave then and there. Due to this small change, Ford can't cause the nest explosion, which doesn't lead to the female MUTO running away, which allows the MUTOs to continue to beat down on Godzilla, not giving him a chance to get up. This one small change in the timeline leads to the death of the final Titanus Gojira, Godzilla. After 250 million years of this battle, the MUTOs have finally won, and the MUTO army is born. Today we're going to be looking at what would have played out in the Monsterverse if Godzilla would have died in the climactic San Francisco battle. How would this affect other kaiju? And would the MUTO army take over? This and many other questions will be answered today. So without further ado, let's dive in and ask the question, what if the MUTOs won?
Time. Space. Reality. It's more than a linear path. It's a seismic rift of endless possibilities, where a single roar can ripple out into infinite realities, spawning alternate worlds alongside the ones you know. I am the Overlord. I am your guide through these vast, chaotic realms. Follow me and ponder this question. What if?
After the battle, Ford and his team attempt to leave, quickly being found by either the MUTOs and promptly being killed off. Now, due to the bomb being further away now, when it inevitably goes off, it won't damage the MUTO eggs nearly as much as it would have, as one, it's further away, but two, the fully grown MUTOs have taken most of the blast, so the eggs should survive. And if you think they don't, well, stop watching, that defeats the fun. Now, the humans would try to get close, but the EMP put in place would stop any fighter jets from getting close. And if somebody does get past on foot, the male MUTO will quickly deal with them. So, you can see where this is going. After long enough, the MUTOs hatch. Now, it's hard to say how many there are, but looking at the sheer size of the nest, it would be reasonable to say there are well over 300 eggs laid, which would be bad. Now, granted, at first, it isn't a big deal, but the issue is, no human attacks are possible, and all the other kaiju are asleep, so it's not like any other kaiju are going to try to get close. Oh my god! With Godzilla gone, one of the few active kaiju has made his way over to the MUTO nest, in search of radiation, that being the Ion Dragon. In the timeline we know and love, this guy was dealt with in 2017 by Goji himself. But with Godzilla gone, he's been running loose with no issues. This would be the first kaiju v kaiju fight since Goji's death. The male MUTO takes to the skies to confront the intruder. Now normally I'm Team Ion Dragon all the way. I mean, both me and FDA have covered a fight between these two. But the issue is this time, the Ion Dragon is entering into an EMP zone. If the EMP could affect Goji, then it would 100% affect the Ion Dragon. Now normally this wouldn't happen, as the male MUTO needs to manually activate his with a stomp. But given the female is in close proximity, plus hers is always active, the Ion Dragon would immediately grow weaker, leveling the playing field between the two. Now the male would take damage, but given the female is there to help out when possible, the MUTOs quickly deal with the intruder, now providing even more radiation for the young to grow up quickly. And within a few weeks to a few months, the once tiny hatchlings are now fully grown male and female MUTOs, roughly 150 each. And before they all go off on their own, they hear a call, a roar, calling them to Genjira, Japan. A call from their leader, the MUTO Prime. Even before they arrive at the shores of Japan, they cause massive tsunamis, completely submerging Hawaii and flooding large portions of Japan's coasts. Arriving there, they come face to face with, well, their grandma, more or less. Now what would play out next is hard to say, but given this is fully hypothetical, let's go down the route I know you all want to see, Ghidorah. Now before we break down how Ghidorah would get out, they would first come face to face with the kaiju that inhabits Mount Fuji, Yamata no Orochi. Now while I don't know too much about Orochi, given his character through previous Toho films and his mythology, he'll be one tough cookie, definitely being an Alpha Titan, most likely just straight up breaking out of Mount Fuji, reducing it to bits. Now the Prime, being the smart kaiju she is, would send half to go off and deal with Orochi, and send the other half off to Ghidorah, Prime staying behind to assist. Now while I'd love to say he put up a fight, we just don't know enough about Orochi yet to say. So after losing a few MUTOs, the other half catch up with the first group. Now the question is asked, why would the Prime go out of her way to try and take a Ghidorah if he's already stuck in the ice and couldn't cause any trouble? Well, firstly, he's a threat to her power. As we see, even the higher-ranking Queen Muto submitted to Ghidorah's call, so if left alive, he could take quite a few of the Mutos for himself. But more importantly, the Prime herself knows that she would have no choice but to bow to Ghidorah. As in my interview with Greg Keyes, he personally believes the Prime would have bowed to Ghidorah. Now, this isn't 100% accurate, as it's entirely his theory, but it's the best thing we've got. So once they all arrive, the Muto Prime tells the females to dig out Ghidorah. Now, they've awakened King Ghidorah, the one who is many. If they can take him out, they should be able to overthrow the rest of the Monsterverse. Now off the bat, the Mutos bombard him with EMPs. But how would this affect Ghidorah? Well, put on your lab coats and let's explain. Now firstly, I've seen the argument that due to Ghidorah's extraterrestrial nature, the EMPs wouldn't affect him much if at all. Which while it does seem solid, you need to remember, he charges himself with earthly radiation, even feeding off of Godzilla. And as we know, the Mutos can reduce that radiation, such as what they did with Godzilla in 2014. So given Ghidorah runs off the same radiation they could drain, it should work. But even if you don't think it would drain much from a single EMP, you need to remember, there are hundreds going off every minute, which would not only affect his energy, but it may even take away his bioelectrical powers. Alright, stick with me here. Now, firstly, 1 or 2 EMPs won't affect his powers much, if at all. As while an EMP kills electronics, a bioelectrical character the size of Ghidorah, yeah, it wouldn't do much. I mean, look at electric eels for example. If you drop an EMP near them, it won't really do anything, as eels aren't making and moving electricity like wires do. Rather, they make electricity with their electrocyte cells, which we could assume is what Ghidorah has to generate his electricity. Now, that's what we're saying. Now, while 1 or 2 wouldn't noticeably affect his powers, hundreds is a different story. While 1 or 2 EMPs likely won't affect Ghidorah's biological nature, the cumulative impact of multiple rapid EMPs can start to have an effect on his bioelectrical system, for a few reasons actually. Reason 1 being the overwhelming electrical fields. Even though biological systems are more resilient than electronics, if you bombard an area with hundreds of EMPs, you will start to notice effects due to the EMPs producing constant electromagnetic fields. If Ghidorah is constantly exposed to intense fields, it could mess with the way his body generates and controls electricity, especially when his abilities rely on a delicate electrical balance or neural signals. And secondly, it may potentially interfere with bioelectricity as a whole, as constant pulses will start to interfere with the natural electrical system in Ghidorah's body. While an EMP can't usually affect biological systems, enough electromagnetic disturbances could theoretically disrupt the flow of bioelectricity or interfere with their body's ability to control it. Think of it like how a lot of static electricity can affect the quality of a signal. So, to simplify, Ghidorah would not be having a good time, and he would have to strictly rely on his physical capabilities and combat knowledge, which while he could fight for a while, killing many Mutos, eventually he'd be taking more damage than he could regenerate, and the Prime, being a cocky leader, would come in to dish the final blow. But we want to keep this interesting. Right before she kills Ghidorah, in a final act of desperation, Ghidorah does his alpha call, awakening all Titans, warning them of the upcoming threat. The Prime, using her giant arms, stomps on Ghidorah's final head, reducing it to bits. The Prime is now mad, knowing what Ghidorah has done. All around the world, the Titans awaken. Methuselah in Munich, Behemoth in Rio, and Mothra in China. They all wake up. The Prime immediately sends forces to go off and kill Godzilla's allies, the majority headed towards Behemoth and Mothra. Luckily, Mothra with her godly abilities knows what's going on. She quickly cocoons and hatches within a few hours. And Mothra immediately heads southeast to the South Pacific, and she needs to get to her destination ASAP, as the Mutos are heading up towards her. While she heads there, the other Titans are confused. They weren't given any commands, rather they're just told to wake up. But they can sense something. The 2 powerhouses of the surface world are gone. The Titans begin to just wander about. Humans around the world are in shock, as just a few months ago, they only knew about Godzilla, the male and female Muto, and now they're everywhere. Within a few hours, Behemoth is jumped. Over 50 males descend from the clouds. He fights them off as well as he can, but after a few minutes, he is torn to shreds. All that's left is Mothra. Luckily, using the fast winds above the high clouds, she made it. Destination, Skull Island. Quickly breaking her way through the storm and landing in front of the king of the island, Kong. She bows. Kong looks at her in confusion, his hawk ready to attack if necessary. Mothra makes it clear that she needs Kong's help. Kong, having dealt with many skull crawlers that went crazy out of nowhere, knows something is up. He trusts her. Though before they head out, Mothra goes over to the Iwi. They're in awe. They've never seen something so beautiful, so graceful. Mothra looks around and chirps. Kong points at one of the Iwi, a small young girl, Gia. Gia, confused as he is, climbs onto Mothra, and they descend into the Hollow Earth. The Prime is suddenly confused, as the Prime doesn't know about the Hollow Earth existence. So to her, one second Mothra is here, the next she's gone. The Prime, now thinking Mothra is dead, commands all the remaining Mutos to go for the Titans, while herself goes to check out Mothra's last location to find her body. The Mutos go on a rampage, Titans fall left and right, Abaddon crushed, Nakika mutilated, Scylla eaten alive. As the Prime arrives to Skull Island, it's quiet. The storm covers the island in darkness. Even still, the Prime sees something in the air. Out of nowhere, the Prime drops, ears bleeding. Now that Kong is gone, Camazotz, who lay dormant, is free to run the island how he sees fit. He attacks the Prime, slamming into her at full speed. The Prime is disoriented, but quickly attacks back with her own sonic roar. It hurts Camazotz, but not as much, as his roar is much stronger. The two battle. The smaller kaiju on the island getting caught in the crossfire. While the Prime is in pain, she plans out her attacks. And right as Camazotz comes down, with all the strength she has, she slams her fist down, breaking Camazotz's skull, killing him instantly. The Prime falls, knowing she must rest. She gives one final command to keep killing. Hey everybody, quick intermission, so go refill your water cups and, get another snack. My voice is getting super strained recording all this, but I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. I want to say if you've liked this video so far, make sure to subscribe. That shows me they want to see more what if content. Now, I will say, what is about to happen is similar to FDA's what if. As to those who don't know, me and FDA are best friends. In fact, as I edit this, I'm currently with him in Texas. I flew all the way from Virginia just to see his last football game of the season. So if in the future my stories sound like his or his sound like mine, that's probably because we're spitballing ideas all the time on the phone, and we're just taking bits from each other's ideas and using them in our own videos. So he's not copying me, I'm not copying him, it's just we both have the exact same ideas. So I hope you enjoy. Mothra and Kong arrive. Kong is in awe, looking around the hollow earth, drawn to another direction from Mothra to explore, but Mothra roars at him to follow, so he does. They arrive, a massive silk wall. Mothra's presence near the wall somehow makes the silk loosen, allowing easy access past the wall. They have arrived. Malenka, the Hollow Earth Iwi civilization. The Iwi are stunned. Their prophecy said nothing of another Mothra, much less this soon. Mothra disregards her followers and flies up to the top of the crystals. Gia instinctually raises her hand. Mothra flies down and spreads her wings, bowing. Kong follows suit. As a bright golden light fills Malenka, the mother of Mothras has awakened. Mothra, with her ability of immortality, is already caught up thanks to the Mothra in front of her. Together, they head out. Kong ran as fast as he can, while the two Mothras and the Hawk fly above. They stop at a valley. 2019 Mothra nosedives into the ground, breaking through it, entering the subterranean realm. They quickly devise a plan. The Mothras and Kong will continue further, as the Hawk stays behind to watch Gia. As the plan insists, Kong's told to grab a weapon. Kong picks up some bones and they charge. Mothra uses her silk to stick all the ape guards to the floor and walls. Mother Mothra goes up and using her god rays pushes a massive rock into lava. And Kong, following the plan, disregarding all the apes that he's seen around him for the first time, charges into a lair. A massive red orangutan on the throne, the Scar King. Kong charges at Scar King before Scar King can even react. And Kong jams the bones all the way through the chair, killing Scar King instantly. Kong feels bad, but he trusts the Mothras and sticks to their plan. The other Kongs, still caught off guard, stand by. Kong explains what's happening to the other Kongs. While concerned, they take his word, as anything is better than the Scar King. They've gotten what they came for, Shimo. Kong takes Scar King's whip and takes a crystal out of it, letting Shimo free. She's in their debt and ready to do what they need. With a small group of strong apes, Kong with a new whip, Shimo, the Mothras, and a Hawk too, together they go up to the surface. They arrive in Egypt. Looking around, everything is on fire or destroyed. The pyramids are gone. What happened here? Looking over to what's left of the city, they see Sekhmet, an ancient titan fighting against a group of female MUTOs. Kong and Shimo quickly go to help out. They quickly kill her remaining females. Sekhmet, while bloody and bruised, is still able to fight. The Mothras pull off the final part of their plan. After this, there's no turning back. The Mothras in unison begin to sing, not only to inform the remaining titans of their location, but also mocking the now awakened Prime. The final fight for the world has begun. The world itself shakes as titans and MUTO alike beeline towards Egypt. Some of the remaining titans on their way don't make it though, being caught by the MUTOs. Quetzalcoatl getting torn apart above the Atlantic Ocean by a horde of male MUTOs. Amulet getting squashed, having just passed Kazakhstan, and Binyap getting mauled midway through India by the Prime herself. The first wave arrives, arriving from the southwest and another group from the northeast. Roughly 70 MUTOs in total. The skies darken as the male MUTOs block out the sun, and the ground shakes as the queen and females gallop from either direction. The Mothras and the Hawk take to the skies to battle the males, while the Kongs go for the southern group, and Shimo and Sekhmet take on the northern group. The Kongs use their speed and strength to their advantage, taking down MUTOs one by one, along with Kong using the Scar's whip to attack from afar and choke out some MUTOs as well. Shimo and Sekhmet combine their powers, Sekhmet setting MUTOs ablaze, while Shimo freezes the others. The Mothras use their silk to immobilize males, while the Hawk quickly goes and kills them while they fall to the ground. Though, due to the sheer numbers, the kaiju team starts to fall behind. The Mothras can only make so much silk so fast, and the Kongs are starting to take too much damage. Right as it seems they might start to fall, from the north comes Methuselah, galloping on all fours, alongside with a Spine Prowler and the Frostvark. Methuselah body slams into a horde of females, killing some on impact, while the down ones are frozen solid by Edward the Frostvark, and the others are mauled by the Spine Prowler. It's even on either side, the kaiju killing the MUTOs off one by one. Though, sadly, some of the remaining Titans die as well. Some of the other Kongs don't make it due to the lack of training and poor food supplies and under the rule of Scar King. Along with some of the Kongs, the Hawk also falls. Due to his smaller size, he knew he would only last so long, giving his life in the battle. But then they hear it, the rest of the MUTO army. From either direction, more MUTOs swarm in, one of which including the Prime, charging at full sprint. The MUTOs start to overwhelm the kaiju. The Mothras are out of silk, Methuselah's mountain is starting to break on his back, and Shima's running low on radiation. And everyone else is tired, but they keep fighting. They stand their ground, but as the MUTO closes in, the Titans start to fall. First the Spine Prowler, then Edward, and finally Sekhmet. Mother Mothra gives the command to focus on Prime. Methuselah and Shima push through the hordes, trying to reach the Prime. The Mothras are now busy with more male MUTOs in the sky, which is harder given their lack of silk. That along with the Hawk being gone, they're starting to lose. Is this it? They can't make it. Out of nowhere in the sky, two mechas are airlifted into battle. They drop to the ground. All the kaiju pause for a moment just to get a glimpse of these new competitors. Two Mechgodzillas, codenames Kiryu and Cyberzilla. One of them being a robot built on the remains of the ancient Godzilla specimen, Dagon, and the other being a cybernetic mecha built off the remains of the fallen body of Godzilla himself. While the Mothras are gathering troops, Apex Cybernetics, Monarch, and Raven Martin, using their tech skills and kaiju knowledge, built two giant mechas. These two mechas charge into the battlefield. The Prime immediately uses her EMP, but it has no effect. These mechas are EMP-proof. They charge in, Cyberzilla going to go support the kaiju, while Dagon's Kiryu charges the Prime. While Cyberzilla helps clear out the rest of the MUTOs, Kiryu is ready for round 2. Having lost to the Prime hundreds of years ago, they roar at each other and clash. Kiryu evades hit after hit, rockets and saws from Kiryu damaging the Prime. The Prime roars, pushing back Kiryu. This was a mistake. With space between them, Kiryu opens his chest and charges up and fires the new prototype weapon, the Proton Destroyer, a combination between the military's Oxygen Destroyer test weapon and Apex's Proton Scream. This beam destroys protons, meaning whatever it hits ceases to exist. Without protons, matter won't stay together and will disperse into subatomic particles. Kiryu fires his beam. The Prime dodges most of it, but does get clipped on the arm, and the other kaiju watch in horror as the Prime's upper arm vanishes, causing the lower half to simply fall to the ground, disconnected from the rest of the body. The Prime shrieks in pain. Cyberzilla then runs over, the Prime caught off guard. He grabs her head and swipes her feet to the ground, her eyes full of fear, pleading for mercy. But these robots are only programmed with one thing: kill the kaiju. Cyberzilla charges up his beam and fires a concentrated laser beam down her throat. The beam shoots all the way through her body. The Prime has fallen. The rest of the MUTOs try and flee, but the mechas kill them in seconds. The kaiju are in shock. The mechas simply walk away, going back to their outpost. The kaiju disperse, knowing that someday they'll have to fight again. Fight against the very mechas that helped them out today. And they know they may not win. But for now, the world is clean of the MUTO infestation, and the kaiju that remain are now in charge. And there we are. This took a long time to make. So if you enjoyed it, please make sure to subscribe. If this didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, well, I'm sorry. Don't get offended. This is just an entirely hypothetical, fun what-if story. This isn't meant to be taken seriously or like actual canon. But again, consider subscribing. It means a lot to me and helps support videos like this. But, as always, keep collecting. Goji Guy, out. See ya.